prepare for the Seattle Inspector exam, several resources are available to aid study efforts. Firstly, the Seattle Department of Construction and Inspections, or SDCI, provides official exam resources. Specifically, the SDCI offers exam announcements and a study guide, both of which are valuable tools for understanding the exam format and content. Secondly, online practice tests can be accessed through platforms like Career Exams, Exam Edge, and Practice Exam. These platforms offer practice tests tailored to the Seattle Building Inspector exam, allowing users to simulate the testing environment and identify areas for improvement. Thirdly, books and study materials such as Barron's Building Inspector Exam Guide and the International Code Council, or ICE, code books and reference materials are essential resources. The ICC provides the International Building Code, or IC, the International Residential Code, or IRC, and the International Mechanical Code, or IMC, all of which are critical for understanding building regulations. When preparing for the exam, there are several key strategies to consider. 1. Focus on the building codes, as the exam heavily emphasizes knowledge of building codes and regulations. 2. Review the study guide provided by SDCI, as it outlines the topics covered in the exam. 3. Practice time management, given that the exam has a time limit, so practice answering questions efficiently. 4. Consider a study group, as collaborating with others can help identify areas of weakness and reinforce concepts. 5. Stay updated on code changes, because building codes are frequently updated, so ensuring you have the latest information is crucial. Understanding the International Building Code, the International Residential Code, and the International Mechanical Code is crucial, therefore, make sure that you know these codes very well. The International Building Code addresses structural integrity, fire safety, means of egress, accessibility, and other aspects of building design and construction for commercial buildings and larger residential structures. The International Residential Code covers building, plumbing, mechanical, fuel, gas, and electrical provisions for 1- and 2-family dwellings and townhouses. The International Mechanical Code regulates the design, installation, maintenance, and inspection of mechanical systems, including heating, ventilating, and air conditioning, or HVAC, systems. Familiarizing yourself with these codes is essential for successfully passing the inspector exam. When you are studying the building codes, pay special attention to definitions, occupancy classifications, types of construction, fire-resistant construction, means of egress, accessibility requirements, structural design, interior environment, energy efficiency, exterior walls, roof assemblies, and special construction. For example, definitions provide a clear understanding of terms used throughout the code. Occupancy classifications categorize buildings based on their intended use and associated hazards, influencing requirements for fire safety and structural design. Types of construction define the fire resistance and material limitations based on the building's occupancy and size. Fire-resistant construction details the requirements for fire-rated walls, floors, and structural members to contain fire spread. Means of egress specifies the design and arrangement of exit routes to ensure safe evacuation during emergencies. Accessibility requirements ensure that buildings are usable by people with disabilities, adhering to standards like the Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA. Structural design addresses the loads and forces that a building must withstand, ensuring stability and safety. Interior environment focuses on ventilation, lighting, and thermal comfort for occupants. Energy efficiency sets standards for insulation, windows, and mechanical systems to reduce energy consumption. Exterior walls cover requirements for cladding, weather resistance, and fire performance. Roof assemblies address roofing materials, drainage, and structural support. Special construction includes requirements for unique building elements like swimming pools, towers, and retaining walls. In addition to understanding the specific requirements of each code, it is important to know how to apply them in real-world scenarios. This involves interpreting code provisions, understanding their intent, and applying them to specific building designs and construction methods. Reviewing case studies and examples can help in developing this skill. Furthermore, knowing how to navigate the code books efficiently is crucial. This involves understanding the organization of the codes, using the index and table of contents to find relevant sections, and being familiar with the commentary that provides additional explanation and guidance. Remember that building codes are constantly evolving. Therefore, staying updated on the latest changes and amendments is essential for ensuring compliance and maintaining professional competence. Subscribing to industry publications, attending training seminars, and participating in professional organizations can help you stay informed about code updates. Studying involves reviewing the key chapters and sections of the code books, practicing applying the code requirements to different building scenarios, and understanding the intent behind the code provisions. Use the study guide and practice tests as guides for focusing your studies on the most relevant topics. Time management in the exam is critical. Begin by allocating a specific amount of time to each question based on the total number of questions and the total time allowed. Then quickly read each question and identify the key information being asked. If you know the answer immediately, answer it and move on. If you are unsure, mark the question to return to later. Focus first on answering the questions you know well to build confidence and accumulate points. When you return to the more difficult questions, take your time to carefully analyze the information provided and consider all possible answers. Eliminate any obviously incorrect answers to narrow down your choices. If you are still unsure, make an educated guess and move on, rather than spending too much time on any one question. It is important to understand the roles of different building inspectors and the types of inspections they conduct. Building inspectors typically inspect the structural, electrical, plumbing, and mechanical systems of buildings to ensure compliance with the building codes and regulations. They review construction plans, conduct site inspections, and issue permits and certificates of occupancy. Electrical inspectors focus on the electrical systems, ensuring that wiring, fixtures, and equipment are installed safely and correctly. Plumbing inspectors inspect the plumbing systems, ensuring that water supply, drainage, and waste disposal systems are properly installed and maintained. Mechanical inspectors focus on heating, ventilating, and air conditioning, or HVAC systems, ensuring that they are energy efficient and meet safety standards. When preparing for the exam, review the specific requirements for each type of inspection and understand the common violations and issues that inspectors encounter. In addition to technical knowledge, the exam may also assess your understanding of legal and administrative aspects of building regulations. This includes knowledge of permitting procedures, zoning regulations, and enforcement mechanisms. Familiarize yourself with the local building codes and regulations in Seattle, as well as the relevant state and federal laws. Also, it is important to understand the process for appealing inspection decisions and resolving disputes. Effective communication skills are also essential for building inspectors. They must be able to clearly communicate code requirements to contractors, building owners, and the public, as well as document their findings and prepare inspection reports. Practice explaining technical concepts in simple terms and be prepared to answer questions from non-experts. Remember that building inspectors play a critical role in ensuring the safety and quality of buildings. By thoroughly preparing for the exam and staying updated on the latest code changes, you can demonstrate your competence and contribute to the well-being of the community. In conclusion, to prepare effectively, one should utilize official exam resources, online practice tests, relevant books, and study materials. It is also important to focus on the building codes, to review the study guide, practice time management, consider a study group, and stay updated on code changes. By following these strategies, candidates can increase their chances of success on the Seattle Inspector exam. Furthermore, understanding the roles of different building inspectors, legal and administrative aspects of building regulations, and effective communication skills are crucial for success in the field. By focusing on these key areas, candidates can demonstrate their competence and contribute to the safety and quality of buildings in the community. Remember, success on the Seattle Inspector exam requires a combination of technical knowledge, practical skills, and effective study strategies. By dedicating time and effort to preparing for the exam, candidates can increase their chances of achieving their professional goals and making a positive impact in the built environment. It is also crucial to understand the purpose and scope of each code. The International Building Code provides minimum requirements to safeguard the public health, safety, and general welfare through structural strength, means of egress facilities, stability, sanitation, adequate light and ventilation, energy conservation, and safety to life and property from fire and other hazards attributed to the built environment, and to provide safety to firefighters and emergency responders during emergency operations. The International Residential Code addresses 1 and 2 family dwellings and townhouses not more than 3 stories above grade plane in height with a separate means of egress. The International Mechanical Code regulates the design, installation, maintenance, alteration, and inspection of mechanical systems that are permanently installed and utilized to provide control of environmental conditions and systems that utilize energy and are essential to the safety, health, or welfare of the occupants of the building. Effective study habits include creating a study schedule, setting realistic goals, and tracking progress. One should dedicate a specific amount of time each day to studying and stick to the schedule as closely as possible. Break down the material into smaller, manageable chunks and focus on one topic at a time. Also, it is important to take regular breaks to avoid burnout and maintain focus. Use a variety of study methods such as reading, note-taking, and practice questions to keep yourself engaged and reinforce learning. Review your notes and practice questions regularly to reinforce your understanding of the material. Also, seek help from others when needed, such as joining a study group or asking questions of instructors or experienced inspectors. Staying positive and motivated is also key to success. Believe in yourself and your ability to pass the exam. Celebrate your accomplishments along the way to stay motivated and focused. Remember that the hard work and dedication will pay off in the end. Moreover, when answering multiple choice questions, it is important to read each question carefully and identify the key information being asked. One should eliminate any obviously incorrect answers to narrow down the choices. Then, consider the remaining answers and choose the one that best answers the question. If you are unsure, make an educated guess and move on, rather than spending too much time on any one question. Also, it is important to manage your time effectively during the exam. The best advice is to allocate a specific amount of time to each question based on the total number of questions and the total time allowed. Focus on answering the questions you know well first and then return to the more difficult questions later. It is also important to review your answers before submitting the exam to catch any errors or omissions. Also, it is important to be familiar with the different types of construction materials and their properties. This includes knowledge of wood, concrete, steel, masonry, and other common building materials. One should understand the strengths and weaknesses of each material, as well as their fire resistance, durability, and other relevant properties. Also, it is important to know how to identify different types of materials and assess their condition during inspections. Also, it is important to understand the principles of structural design and analysis. This includes knowledge of loads, stresses, and strains, as well as the behavior of different structural elements under load. One should understand how to calculate loads and stresses and how to design structural elements to resist them. Also, it is important to know how to identify signs of structural distress and potential failures. Also, it is important to be familiar with the different types of building systems and their components. This includes knowledge of electrical, plumbing, mechanical, and fire protection systems. One should understand how these systems work and how to inspect them for compliance with the building codes. Also, it is important to know how to identify potential hazards and safety issues associated with these systems. By mastering the building codes, developing effective study habits, and understanding the key principles of building construction and inspection, candidates can increase their chances of success on the CIASL Inspector exam and launch a rewarding career in the field. The purpose of building codes is to provide a minimum standard for the design, construction, and maintenance of buildings to protect the health, safety, and welfare of the public. Building codes address a wide range of issues, including structural integrity, fire safety, accessibility, energy efficiency, and sanitation. Building codes are constantly evolving to reflect new technologies, materials, and construction practices. Building codes are enforced by local building departments, which review construction plans, conduct site inspections, and issue permits and certificates of occupancy. Compliance with building codes is essential for ensuring the safety and quality of buildings. The scope of the International Building Code includes all types of buildings except for 1- and 2-family dwellings and townhouses, which are covered by the International Residential Code. The International Building Code addresses a wide range of issues, including structural design, fire safety, accessibility, energy efficiency, and interior environment. The International Building Code is organized into chapters, each of which addresses a specific topic. The International Building Code includes both prescriptive requirements and performance-based requirements. Prescriptive requirements specify specific materials, methods, and designs that must be used. Performance-based requirements specify the desired outcome or performance of a building element or system. The scope of the International Residential Code is limited to 1- and 2-family dwellings and townhouses not more than 3 stories above grade plane in height with a separate means of egress. The International Residential Code addresses a wide range of issues, including building, plumbing, mechanical, fuel gas, and electrical provisions. The International Residential Code is organized into chapters, each of which addresses a specific topic. The International Residential Code is intended to be a simplified code that is easy to understand and apply. The scope of the International Mechanical Code includes the design, installation, maintenance, alteration, and inspection of mechanical systems. Mechanical systems include heating, ventilating, and air conditioning, or HVAC systems, refrigeration systems, and plumbing systems. The International Mechanical Code is organized into chapters, each of which addresses a specific topic. The International Mechanical Code references other codes and standards, such as the International Plumbing Code and the National Electrical Code. Code books and reference materials are essential resources for preparing for the Seattle Inspector exam. One should obtain the latest editions of the International Building Code, the International Residential Code, and the International Mechanical Code. It is also helpful to have access to other reference materials, such as the Code Commentary, which provides additional explanation and guidance. Code books and reference materials can be purchased from the International Code Council, or ICE, and other publishers. It is also possible to access code books and reference materials online through the ICC website. Online practice tests are a valuable tool for assessing your knowledge and identifying areas for improvement. There are many online practice tests available for the Seattle Inspector exam. Some online practice tests are free, while others require a subscription. When choosing an online practice test, be sure to select one that is relevant to the Seattle Inspector exam and that covers all of the topics that will be on the exam. It is also helpful to choose a practice test that provides feedback on your answers. Consider forming a study group with other individuals who are preparing for the Seattle Inspector exam. A study group can provide support, encouragement, and a forum for discussing challenging topics. Study groups can also help you to stay motivated and on track with your studies. It is important to choose study group members who are committed to preparing for the exam and who have a positive attitude. One should also establish clear goals and ground rules for the study group. Staying updated on code changes is essential for ensuring compliance and maintaining professional competence. Building codes are constantly evolving to reflect new technologies, materials, and construction practices. It is important to subscribe to industry publications, attend training seminars, and participate in professional organizations to stay informed about code updates. One should also review the local building codes and regulations in Seattle to ensure that you are aware of any local amendments. One might want to review the Seattle Municipal Code and the rules and regulations of the Seattle Department of Construction and Inspections, or SDCI. Also, one should familiarize yourself with the Seattle building permit process, including the requirements for submitting plans, obtaining permits, and scheduling inspections. One should also understand the different types of inspections that are required, such as structural, electrical, plumbing, and mechanical inspections. Familiarize yourself with the roles and responsibilities of different building officials, such as building inspectors, plan reviewers, and permit technicians. One should also understand the process for appealing inspection decisions and resolving disputes. Practice explaining technical concepts in simple terms and be prepared to answer questions from non-experts. Also, one should develop strong interpersonal skills and the ability to work effectively with people from diverse backgrounds. Develop strong problem-solving skills and the ability to think critically and make sound decisions under pressure. One should also maintain a professional demeanor and ethical conduct at all times. Effective communication skills are essential for building inspectors. Building inspectors must be able to clearly communicate code requirements to contractors, building owners, and the public. They must also be able to document their findings and prepare inspection reports. Effective communication skills include both written and verbal communication skills. Building inspectors must be able to write clear and concise reports and memos. They must also be able to speak clearly and effectively in public settings. In addition, building inspectors must be able to listen actively and respond appropriately to questions and concerns. Ethical conduct is essential for building inspectors. Building inspectors must act with integrity and impartiality at all times. They must avoid conflicts of interest and maintain confidentiality. They must also uphold the highest standards of professionalism and ethical conduct. Building inspectors play a critical role in ensuring the safety and quality of buildings. By thoroughly preparing for the exam and staying updated on the latest code changes, you can demonstrate your competence and contribute to the well-being of the community. Also, it is important to review your knowledge of the legal and administrative aspects of building regulations. One should familiarize yourself with the Seattle Municipal Code and the rules and regulations of the Seattle Department of Construction and Inspections, or SDCI. One should understand the Seattle building permit process, including the requirements for submitting plans, obtaining permits, and scheduling inspections. Also, one should understand the different types of inspections that are required, such as structural, electrical, plumbing, and mechanical inspections. One should familiarize yourself with the roles and responsibilities of different building officials, such as building inspectors, plan reviewers, and permit technicians. And one should also understand the process for appealing inspection decisions and resolving disputes.